Stine from GuitarZoom here, and what I want to help you with is some of the fundamental things that you should know about music theory. Some of the basic things, and the most important thing about this is not only learning those elements of music theory, but how to apply them onto your fretboard. Okay, one of the most important things I want you to always remember is when you learn ideas, right, whatever they are, whether they're licks or patterns or theory or scales or chords or whatever they might be, one of the greatest things that you could possibly do is to learn how to actually use them on your fretboard to benefit you. So it's not just an idea, but it's a usable concept, right? So the first thing we're going to do is I just want to make sure you've got all of your kind of basic fundamental essentials in order. And the first one we're going to do is we're going to talk about all the notes on the fretboard and understanding what they are, how they work, all that sort of thing. And to do that, we need to talk about what's called the chromatic scale, okay? Now, the chromatic scale is the dictionary of musical notes, all right? When I say note or tone or pitch, I'm talking about the same thing, okay? So if I, for instance, talk about the note C on the guitar, I might call it a note, I might call it a tone, I might call it a pitch. I mean the same thing when I say those things, all right? So when we talk about the musical dictionary, what we're doing is talking about all the available notes that we have, whether you're playing clarinet, whether you're playing piano, whether you're playing saxophone, whether you're playing guitar or bass or whatever. So the first question is how many notes do we have in music? And the answer is 12. You look at this guitar and it seems so overwhelming because there's so many frets and all that sort of thing. But there's only 12 notes. So the first thing we need to do is we need to truly understand those 12 notes, or what we call the chromatic scale. So the first thing I want to do before we get started here is make sure that you understand what I refer to as the difference between relative and absolute learning, okay? The things we're going to talk about for the next few minutes here are going to be things that I want you to think about putting in your brain on an absolute level, okay? And what I mean by that is relative is something that we learn, like we hear something on TV or we hear a word or a phrase and we go, well, that's really neat. But we don't really know how to use it correctly. An absolute is something that you know. I could put you in front of 10,000 people and you could explain whatever it is in your life, right? It doesn't make any difference what it is, but whatever you're good at, or just something that you understand, right? I could take my youngest daughter and I could put her in front of 10,000 people and she'd be scared, right? But I could ask her, what's 2 plus 2? And she would know the answer, right? Because it's an absolute thing for her. Where if I ask her what's 16 times 4, it's going to be a little bit harder for her to do. So the things that we're going to talk about right now, I want you to think about this as absolute, okay? So the chromatic scale. What is the chromatic scale? Well, the first thing we're going to do, and you'll have a handout that has this in there, but the first thing I want you to do is I want you to think about all the white notes on the piano. Now, you don't have to play piano. I am a horrible piano player, so don't worry about it. But there is a little chart that you can see. Now, the white notes, you can visualize a piano, even though you might not play one. You've seen one before. The white notes on the piano are the notes A, B, C, D, E, F, and G.